WarioWare is a series of games that basically star Wario along with a whole new cast of wacky characters. The main appeal of the series comes from these microgames, which are mini games but way shorter. Sure, the objective is easy, but you're given so little time that they actually become hard. The fact that there was a good variety of them and there's multiple levels of them made these games very replayable, despite the fact that they're not very long in terms of length. The other point of appeal of the series would come with just how weird the game overall is. It's definitely not going to appeal to everyone, but I find it very charming and appealing personally, which gives the series its own sort of identity, you know? These minigames are made by Wario and his friends after all. It makes sense why it looked like my video. I also adore the new designs and art style that this game rocks with, which again helps the series stand out from all the others, even if it doesn't look good at times. Now, if you've watched my previous videos, you would know that I have covered a game in this series before, specifically the one on the Wii. However, that was made when I was just starting to make content, and in an era where I was the only one doing the videos, and cooking myself in the closet to record. But nowadays, things are different, so let's finally give this series the treatment it actually deserves. So let's jump right to the story mode, starting with Wario. Wario is basically the intro stage for this game, existing to basically ease you into the game as a whole. Each of the levels in the story mode basically play out like this. There's an intro and a conclusion cutscene for each story, which do a good job of really highlighting these characters, and then in between both of them are the meat and bones, the microgames. You basically play a certain number of these, but there's a few things to keep it from feeling a bit repetitive. First of all, you've got the genre. Each character has a specific genre for a level, with Wario's being anything goes. Yeah, that's something he would do. Anywho, these microgames are as the genre says, most of these being Wario themed because you know, Wario. Moving on, another thing these levels do is that after you reach a certain point, it'll either speed up or level up, making the microgames faster, harder, or both. It really does help get rid of the repetitiveness one would get from this game without them. But after a certain number, you also do have the boss stages. These stages are more like regular minigames, but are also much harder to result, each stage having their own exclusive one. In this case, it's Wario sparring. Simply just time the A button correctly, and you're done with the stage. Overall, a nice way to really ease you into the game. Next up is Jimmy, and his genre is sports. Jimmy is one funky dude rocking that blue afro and a pack of shades, and if you can't tell, he's all about rhythm. Sports is right. Jimmy's microgames are all about them, jumping over hurdles, trying to hit a basketball shot, and so on. You'd think these microgames would be difficult given the character, but hey, sports works. I imagine all that dancing counts as some sort of exercise, right? Anyways, in terms of difficulty, it's still not that much harder than Wario, but it's much longer compared to him. The boss game for this stage is Punch-Out. Well, a heavily simplified version of it, but it still kinda is. This one is easy, simply just dodge the punches on time and then punch your opponent right after. Repeat it 3 times and you're golden. Not much of a jump in difficulty compared to Wario, but still a nice stage in the end. Alright, if I continue this video with the current pace, we'd be here for quite a while, so it's time for a quick round. For this round we've got Dribble and Spits, Mona, 9V, and Remix 1. Dribble and Spits are a cat and dog duo who are also taxi drivers. They basically pick up someone, hey, that's me, who want to drive to the sea, and that's where the level starts. This level is unique in the fact that it features a vocal track as its theme, titled Drifting Away. It sounds as good as you expect on a GBA sound chip, piece of shit, but it's crazy to hear still. Take a listen. The genre here is sci-fi, with minigames involving flying over things, space team stuff, and so on. The boss only further pushes that theme, being a space shooter. You destroy these circles, collect power-ups to get more firepower, and then beat this huge boss that makes an ear-piercing sound effect every time you hit its damn shield. The ending is basically bringing the person you drove to the ocean, where they then reveal that they were a mermaid and then swim off into the sunset. It's a nice moment, until the duo realizes that they forgot to collect the fare. Don't you love it when that happens? Won't be the last time for them either. Next up is Mona. She's basically the person who runs multiple jobs to keep her income afloat, I assume. For this particular story, she's running late for a shift at the ice cream shop, and she's receding as a result. so she responds in the proper way, assaulting the cops with her own weird weapons. I too assault the cops randomly for my job as well. Mona's genre is strange, and if you thought the previous levels were already weird, then whoo boy, this is a whole new level for you. I don't even have to describe these microgames, the forge quite literally is speaking for itself. Just look at it. The boss isn't any less strange, with this disgusting looking thing staring at you, but regardless, it's a simple case of timing correctly, so do it right and you get the kneel on the floor just fine, assuming you can time for shit, unlike me. Anyways, the ending is Mona making it to her job on time. Guess she'll be able to make the rent this month after all, huh? And then next up is 9V, who's basically a huge Nintendo nerd, if this opening wasn't any indication already. As a result, the whole theme for this level is quite literally just Nintendo stuff. There's the obvious ones like Mario and Zelda, and there's deeper cuts like Balloon Fight and a few of the earlier games I don't even recognize. These levels tend to be considered the best one by fans of the series, and well, it's not hard to see why. The boss for this level is this baseball minigame, which is probably a callback as well, where you have to hit the ball a minimum of 5 times. It gets tricky a few times, but nothing too hard. The ending for this one is an intrusive advertisement for the new GBA SP. New. And he heads off to get it, with his skateboard transforming into a flying hoverboard. Yeah, that makes sense. And finally, to end this quick round, Remix 1. This one stars a yellow colored Jimmy, and it's just a remix of all the Microgames you played up to this point, but harder. Not much to say really, but works as a nice midpoint to the game. And with that finished, we can move on to the next set. Next up is Orbulon, and his genre is IQ. He's an alien looking to invade Earth and also has a head shaped like a fucking bowling pin. The whole gimmick for this level is that the Microgames make you think a bit more than usual, like this one where you have to haze, which basically means being an asshole. But while these do make you think, I wouldn't exactly say this makes this level any harder, at least in the story mode. It's a standard level, but I imagine it would be one of those levels that becomes really hard the further you get in, which is a great way to challenge yourself. Granted, you won't break the console in doing so. The boss for this one is a basic RPG battle. The key here is to basically pick the correctly spelled option, as picking the wrong one results in your untimely death. The final attack shakes things up by making you time the attack correctly, which can be a nightmare for people with terrible reaction times like me, but it's one of the cooler ones, honestly. Moving on, we have Dr. Krygor. He's a guy who loves to make wacky shit, judging by this cutscene. But he's having a problem of sorts. Weird intro aside that rivals Mana's stage as a whole, Krygor's stage is all about reality, featuring overly compressed PNGs, like this dog over here. Yeah, get used to that, since it's a common thing in this level. You'll be doing things that revolve around stuff you would do in your regular life. It does not make the stage any less weird than every other stage though, except Mona's. But this boss stage here is this weird as fuck segment where you're like this giant head using laser eyes to defend the Earth? You cannot make this shit up. It's a bit hard at first, but it gets easier the more time passes. Pro tip, use the D-pad for this segment, and not the analog stick. Alright, we're in the final stretch here. Quick round 2, baby. First up is Kat and Anna. I see what you did there. They're both ninjas, and the story revolves around Anna protecting the prince, who is named after you. Royalty must be really nice, huh? The attacker reveals to be an evil spirit who manages to capture Anna, and it's up to Kat, the other ninja, to finish the job and save both of them. What accompanies is a walking montage with some really wonky looking sprites, and before reaching the castle, where the level begins. This stage's genre is nature, and it's obvious by just looking at the microgames. Catching fruit, trying to stay in the penguin line. There is some reuse from the first stage though, but for the most part, it's pretty good. The notable thing about this level is that the song that plays, which is yet another vocal song, 4 Seasons. It's still in Japanese and suffers from the GBA sound chip, but it's oddly calming to listen to, similar to Drifting Away. I like it. The The boss minigame here is this neat little segment where you play as this little yellow oval with tiny arms and legs, and you have to make it to the end. You can only jump on these clouds and they disappear once you land on them, so it's best you keep moving. It's really fun and addicting, and I like the music that plays here too, even if it's simple. After beating the stage, Cat manages to beat the spirit with a powered up sword and saves both the prince and Anna. A happy ending for all. And next up is Remix 2, same deal as Remix 1, a mix of all the microgames you've done so far, but harder. However, this one stars a red-haired Jimmy, so it's clearly the best one. Consider Remix 2 a final preparation though, because it's time for the final stage of the story mode. Yup, it's Wario again, but this time it's way harder. The genre is still the same, anything goes, and the minigames are still Wario themed, but they're much harder this time around, really putting your skills to the test. There's also some cases of reuse here from the first stage, but nothing I really mind. This level is also the longest one out of this bunch, going on for about 20 rounds, so you better get those save states ready if you have no shame, like me. As for the boss stage, you expect they would go all out for the final one, and they sure do. It's a multiple phase boss fight in a sense. The first phase has you jutting yourself while riding a skateboard and then use a jetpack to bust through the floor, leading to the second phase, where you fight this weird sentient square? Whatever, it's WarioWare, don't question it at this point. Basically just lure it into your boomerang a couple times and then grab the treasure. But of course, it's not over yet. For the final phase, you need to escape the crumbling ruins. What does that mean? Master at living hell out the apron, of course. Once you escape the boulder chasing you, congratulations, you've beaten the story mode. And that's it for the first WarioWare game, except not really. There's still extra stuff to go over, like the side games. These are just endless mini games you can do if you ever want to give yourself a distraction, but they're personally not my thing. The real deal of the post game are these towers. They're a great way to see how high you can get if you just want to replay the microgames, and these towers are a big reason why I often come back to this game. There is also multiplayer to talk about, which some of the endless games do support, but I don't have a way of playing GBA games with another person just yet, so guess that's all I can really say about that. Sorry. All that aside though, WarioWare Mega Microgames is one hell of a title. Short and simple for sure, and weird as all hell, but again, that's the whole appeal of these games. Like I said back in my Smooth Moves video, I still prefer that motion vest to this one because of bias, but I still do like this one. It does suffer from the first game in the series syndrome, but it doesn't mean you shouldn't think any less of this one. If you're interested, go check it out. It's more accessible since it recently got added to a Nintendo Switch Online expansion pack. Or you could just emulate it.